Let me start the sharing the screen, and we need this one. Okay, chapter 10. How much money are you going to be asking for your marketing offering? The pricing thing. So this is, in general, two ways to put a price. First way is how much you paid for it, how much it cost. There are two concepts. You should already know this. You have price and cost. The price is the selling price from one supplier to the customer. That's the price. You have the cost of the thing, and that is the lump sum of how much you paid to produce something. Those are different things. In that case, when you are producing, you are the customer. But when you are selling something, so now you're the seller. The price is for the sellers, the cost is for the producers. Those two concepts. You should, well, you should already know this, but it's very straightforward. No need to get lost in that. Okay, we will talk about just the price. The price. So this topic goes, remember when I explained to you, there are two parties. There's the seller and the buyer. This goes much more towards the seller in the section of managerial marketing. So how much are you going to ask for the thing in such a way that you can make the transaction, the exchange. The exchange is kind of the result of your pricing policies. Now, in general, two ways to set a price. Two ways is how much it costs plus an addition plus a margin plus a markup. Any of those terms are equivalent. The cost you paid for the thing plus something you want to win, okay? And probably you will want it to be expressed in terms of a percentage. That's kind of the normal way to do it. That's the way one, the first way. Which kind of products do you sell at that price? Well, for example, you have houses. When you are going to buy a house, normally the architect will tell you, okay, I am not a reseller, okay? I'm not a retailing agent, or a reseller. I'm the architect. I am the guy who hires everybody to build the thing, build the house. So I will charge you. What about cost? Whatever is the cost, including labor, indirect cost, all the materials, whatever is the lump sum, plus 20%. And that 20% is my profits. So you can agree in that way with somebody who will build a house. Actually, that's the smartest way to do it. The other way is you go through a reseller who will get a commission. And in that case, you will, give me one moment, please. Is mute? Oh, it's perfect. In that case, the reseller, Century 21, for example, will charge you whatever they want. You can go to Zillow. Zillow is a website, and you will see the prices of the houses. I'm shocked. In Laramie, houses are extremely, outrageously priced. In my consideration, based on the place, on the characteristics of the place, and as compared to other places, this place is extremely expensive. It shouldn't be like that. Of course, if you go to California, probably you don't know this, but in California, You want to buy a house with 3 bedrooms. Just think about it. Normal house, 3 bedrooms, probably 2 bathrooms. It will cost you starting in $800,000, something like that. In Texas, the same house is like $250, $250,000. So it depends where you are, and this chapter is about that. Okay, let me jump to a next slide. So the price is how much money the seller is going to charge to the buyer. Easy peasy. And you can charge either in money or establish an exchange. Okay, you will give me 60% in money, on currency, and 40% I accept your services, or I accept from you this good or this service you have available. It's of my interest. So you can always negotiate the terms, not necessarily always you have to have money. And this is a very nice thing. I would like to give you just for food for thought. I know somebody who became extremely rich just by making exchanges. He doesn't like to move money, so he makes exchanges. It's fun, it's very profitable, and it's very convenient. So if you have a good and you want to get rid of that good, instead of asking for money, you may ask for something on exchange. And you could get surprised what you could get on exchange of something. You would be surprised what people don't want in their houses, that have things that have a lot of value, reselling value somewhere else. I just learned somebody, the brother of a friend of mine, he just lives from eBay. He just gets stuff from other people by exchanges, and when he believes is now ready, he put it on eBay, and he's making a living out of that. Okay, so the price is how much you will charge for something, not necessarily only currency, can be something else. Okay, just keep in mind that. Now, the price, from where to where it goes. It could go from how much it costs the thing to be produced. So you establish a margin, and that's the final is the price, the selling price, or you investigate, do your research on your customer, and you can figure out that there are some things that are really truly valuable for the customers. So you settle the price in a different way. You just ask a certain amount of money. Today, if you are a resident of Wyoming, you are allowed, you get the chance to receive the tuition free, right? All the services are free today, this semester. It was this semester. Harvard didn't cut their prices 1 cent. You want to go there? It will depend on the mayor, but it will go from 20,000 up to 50,000 or more this semester, only this semester, for the same classes you are taking for free. But of course, their strategy is completely different. The strategy of the university in Wyoming is to make sure they give the opportunity to educate everybody in Wyoming. In Harvard, they are selling much more something more a product, a finished product, and of course a network. Because once you graduate from Harvard, they have this network of fellows, the Harvard fellows. So wherever you go, you can find a Harvard fellow, and doesn't not necessarily he or she studied your bachelor's, or even is of your age, it will be very easy for you to establish a relationship and to start doing business. Just so when you go to Harvard, it's not only the education, but it is also the network. And not all the universities are that way. For example, the University of Chicago, for exactly what you are doing now, will be the same price as Harvard, but the only difference is that they don't have fellows. I, I, I have theory, my theory on them is that they are kind of a group of extremely smart, somehow sociopaths, because they don't gather together too much. But each of them are extremely well trained, extremely well trained. So the thing is not falling down too far from them, and sometimes to be better than them. And that's not impossible. Okay, so the other part, as I told you, is about the perception of the customer. So before you sell something, always try to figure out your customer. And probably you are going to sell your car. So you know your car, how much it costs, plus the depreciation. Well, you don't have an idea how much your car would cost. You go to the blue book, you figure out like in the market, how much is the cost. And from there, you have about a price, a selling price around that. But now you talk to the customer and you try to figure out how important for your customer the car is. And if you realize that they are looking for that specific car on that specific color with that specific mileage, so increase the price. You can abandon the criterion of product cost plus as plus a markup, and you go for consumer perception of value. Those are the two different things. Okay. Now, let's go very fast on this. So the value-based pricing, there is a very nice paper from actually from Harvard talking about perceived value. There are two different things: perceived value, selling price, and cost. Now, when you sell the thing, when you sell the car, just make sure you are making a profit. Okay, for you it was convenient because the cost was less, and actually based on the use you gave, you arrived to a kind of a $100 fair price to say something. This is exactly the Harvard article example. Let's assume that for you, selling your car is 100. For you, it has a cost of $90, but for your customer, the value is $115. You could ask the $115. You could ask for the $100. You could ask for the cost, $90. So it will depend now on the relationship with the customer. If you are going to, if you will never see the customer again, so you can become, I call them, in Spanish, they call them banderillero. In the bullfight, you have the toreador playing with the ball, but you have the banderillero. The banderillero is a guy, a random guy, who will come with a couple of sticks with no protection, running towards the bull, and he will put the sticks on the back of the bull and run away. So I call them banderilleros because it's those transactions where you are going to sell something or you are going to buy something from somebody you will never see again, as the banderillero with the bull in the bullfight. On the contrary, the toreador compromises with the bull. He's all the time working the bull, and he can get killed, but he's in a compromise with the bull, dancing with the bull. So if you are going to have a customer who you will continuously making, you will be continuously making transactions with him or her. So now it's convenient for him, for you, not for him, for you, it's convenient to leave open that door. So what you do is you have to convince the customer that he or she is making money out of you. Okay? So if you figure out the perceived value, the perceived price of whatever you are selling is 115, and for you doing a rational business is just selling it at 100 and your cost is 90, sell it at 100. You know that the person would be eager to pay you more, but you have to leave the sensation that the person is making business out of you. So it's a double game. So you become, like in the bullfight, a toreador. You are dancing with the customer in an interminable relationship that will benefit both of you. That's the secret. Okay. Now, price is set to match perceived value, especially when is selling the thing at 115, especially when you don't want to leave any a question that you are selling as a fair price, and you might probably not see the guy again. But if you want to see the guy again, reduce that price. Okay, this, what I'm telling you, is in contradiction with the book. The book is telling you, figure out the perceived value of the thing and sell it at that price. Well, Harvard is telling you, don't do that, because you want to conserve the relationship, and they have to have that idea that they are making business with you, out of you. So reduce, just overpass your cost plus acceptable profit, but don't reach the perceived value. Be in the middle. That's the whole point. Okay. Of course, just when you're studying, just think about it. Now, this is the value-based pricing versus cost-based pricing. So when you are in the cost-based pricing, figure out your cost, increase a markup, that's it. Design a good product. You can read here, design a good product, determine a product cost, set a price based on the cost, and convince buyers of products value. Always you have to convince somebody to sell your marketing offering. Always. So don't miss that part. On the other side, assess customer needs and value perceptions. Go to the marketing research. Figure out how much they are paying for something like this, what you are going to sell. So now set a target price to match customer perceived value. Remember, the book tells you this. Kotler from Northwestern is telling you this. Harvard is telling you reduce that price. Leave a room for them to believe you are the best supplier they have. Determine cost that can be incurred, and this is very important for everybody. One thing is how much cost the thing, how much is the cost of the thing you are going to sell, and what about if the customer is waiting for you a differentiated service? So now the cost goes up, and that's a nightmare. And watch out, because when you are dealing with the customer, they will always want more from you. Always want more from you. It's even worse. I have been in places where the director, if you are negotiating a deal, the director will force you to ask the customer to give it for free. And if the customer is in the not the customer, the supplier, if the director asks you as the supplier to give it for free, and if the supplier is in a financial turmoil, they will give it for free, so they can have this commercial relationship with your company, and that's very unethical. Don't do that. Eventually, somebody could ask you, as the supplier, to give it for free. We are not going to pay them. I don't want to pay them. Don't do that. That's completely unethical. So now you have determined the cost. Now design the product and deliver the desired value. Okay, let's move. Just there is another thing. There is no way to escape marketing research, because you have to figure out the combination in the market, the combinations of quality and price. Always. Always. Nobody cares if you really know how to do the best product that exists on earth. Nobody cares that. And that's a very harsh lesson for the engineers. Nobody cares. What is important is to find the right combination of quality and price. Nothing else matters. If you are producing the best cell phone, is incredible, and it really surpasses everything you have seen in the market, nobody cares if the market is not interested on your marketing offering. A good example of this is the automotive industry. You may not know, but today they are working on the design of the Toyota Camry 2028. 28. They are like 8 years before they start the production. The final footprints will be available probably in this year, for the Toyota Camry 2026. So why they don't sell those? Because the market is not asking for those. What the market is asking for is for the Toyota Camry 2021, probably in a wild guess 22, not more than that. 22 is not available. It will be 21. Okay. Now, there are some in commodities, for example, in potatoes, tomatoes, in commodities in general. Concrete, the price will change daily, and it will be completely tied to the demand and the supply of the commodity. Now, there is a game you can get into it, but it's quite dangerous. You can make fluctuate the prices on a daily basis, high-low pricing, to guess what the market is eager to pay today for something. And this high-low pricing, a very good example is the currencies. If you want to buy some, euros, because you want to go to Europe, or British pounds, which I don't think they are still on sale. But if you want to buy them, I think they are in sale. The thing is that they will vary on a daily basis. There are many people making tons of money out of those high-low pricing products, but it's very risky, because in 1 week you can lose everything. Everything is everything, and the stock market is kind of the same thing. So the value-added pricing is kind of a special thing. You have the thing, you will go to sell the thing, and you add some specific characteristic. Now The car will have air conditioning, will have the sports package. So you are adding some valuable characteristics for the customer to be eager to pay more for the marketing offering. One moment. As I told you, just realize the cost of the thing you are selling, and from there, put the price. Okay, just a note. Especially again, I have nothing against the engineers, but again, for the engineers, you don't know cost accounting. Forget about it. Let an accountant do it because you have no clue. A good accountant will tell you. You will go to the accountant and you will tell the accountant, please tell me how much I paid to produce this stilo. How much was it? A good accountant will tell you how much would you like to be the cost of the style. There are two main techniques: direct cost and absorbent cost. Methods. There are methods, costing methods, and the results are different. So the accountants will tell you how much is the actual cost of something, because you will always miss something. You will miss either your own salary or a group of expenses you took for free. You 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 thought they are not supposed to go into the product. So that's the reason last class I show you revenue minus cost minus expenses. Now let me go inside of the cost. The cost will have fixed and variable cost, and they will also be classified by direct and indirect cost. And you can play with them, and you can come up with different calculations of the cost. Nonetheless, there are specific rules that if you are a public company, you have to follow some specific tools, such a way that now more or less the cost is standardized with other similar companies as yours. But if you are a private company, you're not forced to follow those cost assumptions as if you were a public company. So it's very easy for somebody who's selling to you cost plus a markup to come up with some cost that you never considered. Okay. Now, fixed cost: rent, heat, interest, executive salaries, all the salaries, not when you are paying by hour, but most of the salaries. These are those that do not vary with the production level. So doesn't matter if you produce only one thing or 10,000 things, 10,000. The cost will be the same. And that's the reason you want to have a very clear composition of the cost, the disclosure on and the cost, how the cost was produced. For example, we have this just a recorder. You can think, well, which are the fixed cost of these things when they produce it? Well, the cost is the salaries of all the employees, because this is Olympus. Olympus, probably they already sold their camera division, so probably they are not in problems anymore. So probably they are not using labor paid by the hour. Probably all of them are salaries. It's the most probable. And these guys are Japanese, so they don't like to pay too much their employees per hour, because they see that the employee is kind of the family for the rest of their lives. So in Japan, it's very rarely that somebody changes the of companies. Whereas in the US, if 2 years have passed already, uh, people say, well, why don't you move from there? You are not learning anything anyways. But in Japan, if you, after 10 years working for a company, if you change, they will look at you like a weird bug. So it's less probable that you will get a job somewhere else. So most probably everybody is under salary. And so salaries to produce these things, and the rent of the warehouse, and the rent of the headquarters. Of course, the headquarters, they produce more things, right? Well, there is a small piece of the cost of Olympus. They have several divisions, business divisions. So a small part goes to the recorders, and a microscopic part of that small part goes to this specific recorder that I have in my hand. Interest, when you have debt, you have to continue paying interest, regardless you sell or not. The salaries, rent, the heat, those are like kind of permanent. You have variable cost. The variable cost will always be those that increase or decrease based on your production level. So if you are producing one, well, I only needed aluminum for one, so how much it cost? And the electronics for one, how much it costs? But what about if I'm producing 500,000 of these to be distributed all over the world? So the cost now will be different, but it will vary. Packaging is another example. So this is how you do it in real life. You define your marketing offering. You understand what you are selling. Now you understand what you're selling. Walk through the production and look everywhere and ask yourself, am I paying for that? And am I paying for that? How much is that? Am I paying for that one? Ask yourself everything. Question everything you see there. And the guy who's working with you, ask him, am I paying you? Are we paying you? And so you just classify in the two groups, either fixed or a variable cost. Okay, we already see this one. Okay, two people. I told you, seller and buyer, managerial accounting, consumer behavior, different chapters. This part of this chapter is about exchanges, and is where the economists are kind of the best, are the kings, because they will tell you how the cost curves move, and where do you minimize the cost in such a way that you can maximize the profits. It's kind of a mathematical way of looking at this. And they are kind of the kings. They know this better than anybody else. But this is to tell you something. As you increase production, you decrease cost. And the curve on the right is showing you that you are decreasing the cost. And so in the accumulated production, the cost per unit goes down, because you learn how to do things better, because it's easier to buy by bulk and not by unit. So always you have competitive advantages if you just start producing many and many. Okay, the advantages and the disadvantages, and I have to tell you this. Okay, the cost-based pricing. Most of you should already know this stuff, okay? The break-even point. The break-even, how much is the total cost? How much is the total revenue? How much is the fixed cost? Where do you have an equilibrium? just where do you break even? So just in this graph, the black line says fixed cost. So for this company, there are $300,000 as fixed cost, rent, salaries, whatever, you name it, interest, 300,000 in total. So total revenue is the blue line. If you don't sell anything, you don't have any revenue. Easy peasy. The red line is the variable cost. If you start producing, you start expending money. Straightforward. Start producing, start spending money in raw materials and packaging, right? So if you see the slope of the blue line, it goes up to a time where total cost is at the same level of the revenues. And that is the place where you break even. The red line includes variable cost plus the fixed cost. If you get rid of the fixed cost, this red line goes down, becoming the variable cost, okay? Before I told you the red line is the variable cost, it's not. It's you get rid of the fixed cost, it will go down, it will start on the origin, and a parallel line, also if you want to put it a purple, parallel line starting from the origin, that's the variable cost. Well, it sounds like kind of a very theoretical example. Let me do it by hand. Let me see if I succeed doing it by hand. One moment. Give me one moment, please. Where is this? Stop sharing. Let me see if I can do it. Screen. Zoom. Okay, it's working. No, it's not working. One moment, please. Share content. Where is this one? Yes, yes. So, in the example we had, I told you, is, let me see, I have it here, yes. So you review with your accountant and they told you, you know, the fixed cost equals 300,000. That's the fixed cost. And the variable cost, materials, everything, the engineers have to tell you how much is per unit. If you are in an industrial company, if you are in a service company, you can figure out by yourself. Okay, I'm selling coffees. How much is the coffee? The most coffee I sell, the most coffee I use. That's a variable cost. How much is the pound? How many cups from each pound? And you can start figuring out that part. Let's assume that the accountant told you the variable cost is $10 per unit. Okay. And now the example in the book will give you, well, in the first scenario, you have a 14 bucks. The price equals 14. Now, what do? The first thing is try to figure out where you don't lose, you don't win. That's the break-even point. You don't lose, you don't win. So the formula, the quantity, the optimal quantity equals fixed cost divided by price minus variable cost. So if you substitution, something like that. Okay. I always say it in French, so forget about that. Using the thing, using the formula. The quantity you are looking for is 300,000 divided by a price of 14 minus 10. This is equal to 75,000 units. Okay? Easy peasy. This is money, this is money, this is money. Okay? It's very easy. I didn't like this one. Okay, easy peasy. You go to the marketing researcher and he tells you, you know what? You are able to sell only 71,000 of units. You can sell 75,000. So you say, okay, if I sell 71,000 units at 14, how much is it? Is 994,000. I know that I break even at 75,000 units. So because I have not enough volume, I will lose money, right? Okay, I would get revenue for this amount. But what about the cost? We have fixed cost, 300,000. And remember, you are producing 71,000 and you have to use materials, right? So you have plus the materials of 71,000 units times 10. Remember? Those 10. So this equals, how much is it? 1,000. Something like that. 1,010,000. So you got revenue equals cost equals 1,010,000. You have a net loss of minus 16. So somebody hired you to produce these things. It's not convenient. Just don't do it. At the end, you will work a lot and you will end up losing money. Let me go down back to the, how can I stop? One moment, please. Stop sharing. Good. Okay, let me now start sharing again. One moment, please. Share. So this is the summary of the same thing. Always the question, you start playing with the variables and you say, well, what about if I start selling at 16? Oh yeah, it sounds well, but who will buy it? At the end, who will buy it? Are you going to buy it? Are you going to find somebody to buy it? Let me go down back to the exact same example. There are companies selling at 14. Your competitor is selling at 14. So what can you do? How can you solve the thing? You know very well how to produce the thing, the marketing offering. And you know that in 14 you are losing money. And the competitor is losing money. So what can you do? Well, you call the lawyer and you tell the lawyer, I have evidence of a lumping prices practice. That's illegal. And that's what China is doing. You are selling below the cost. And you are selling below the cost because you want to get market share. You want me to go bankrupt into bankruptcy so you can get all the market. And that is a forbidden practice. That's the reason today, if you look at the news, read the news today, Amazon will be cracked, will be, I don't know how they will do it because I'm not sure I understood how they did it in the 80s with AT&T, but they have declared, the Senate has already declared Amazon a monopoly, and it's not a natural monopoly, it's an artificial monopoly. So they decided, no, you are going, you are making a lot of companies to go bankruptcy. So we are not going to stop you from business. But in the 80s, AT&T was caught in 6 different corporations, and they were sold to different people, and they were called the little bells because Graham Bell was the founder of AT&T. And at the end, years later, these little bells gathered together again in AT&T, because in that market, in that specific market, the only way to get actual economies of scale is by only producing the service, the service by one common administration. So today there are 4 companies. Facebook is the other one. Facebook, Amazon, I don't remember the other 2. But look at in the news today, and you will see they will crash them. They will cut them in several different companies because they are going through these dumping prices practices, and they are harming a lot of people. Okay, and this is about that. How pricing can affect you. One moment, let me. Yes, almost there, almost there. Yes. Okay. There are other considerations. This is very easy. There are other considerations you have to think about when you are establishing a price. So which one is the marketing strategy? Are you positioning? Remember, I told you there are different ways to position your marketing offering. So either is low price or high quality, or differentiated by technological advantages. So which one is your a competitive advantage, and based on that, establish the price. That's one way. That's a very important thing to know. Now, it's very important also when you establish a price, you are affecting everybody. You are affecting your own employees. And as an employee, you are getting affected by the prices. And you can tell when you go and you buy something that is or very cheap or very expensive, and the seller doesn't know what to say, is because the seller is getting affected. There's the salesman, not the seller, the salesman. You go to probably to a retailer, you can go, I believe I told you that's a very good place to go. Go to the outlets in Allen, You go to 25 towards Denver, and in Denver, I think is the exit 127. You go to left, and the outlets are there. And those are the Allen, the same company of Texas. I don't remember the brand. There is a huge uh, outlets, mall of outlets mall in that place. Go there, and you will. It's very interesting because you will see the salesman trying to sell you something, but the price is so crazy, or it's too cheap or too expensive, and so is the seller doesn't know what to do. If you go to Tommy's store or Banana Republic, or you can go to, they sell all these bags uh, from the for the purses for the women, and the prices, the fluctuation is crazy. Some bags, $500 bag is sold in $89. So Kate Spade is one of those brands. So it's very interesting to see that. Now, this is something that you know already know. The last thing of today's class, last thing, you have pure competition, or you have monopolistic competition, or you have oligopolistic competition, oligopolies, or pure monopoly. So pure competition is everybody competes. There is no dominant character in the market. Everybody competes freely. Monopolistic competition is either natural, or which is pure, natural, or artificial. Natural is, for example, when only the government can produce that thing, because it's so expensive to produce that only the government is eager to produce it. For example, all the permits for the plates of the cars, only the government produce that. Because if you want to sell those things to the population in general, will be very expensive. That doesn't make any sense. So the government takes that production of the marketing offering, and so only the government will produce that. That's a natural monopoly. Monopoly means mono, one, poly, I don't know. Good question. I'm supposed to know this. All my life I have been using the words. Okay, doesn't matter. Monopoly, one producer. Oligopoly, two or three rich, extremely rich companies producing that. And pure competition is many producers producing the same thing. Why is important about distinguishing the oligopolistic competition? Because those three or four guys get into agreements and they control all the prices. And so that's the reason when you see in some markets that there are very few producers, the prices are kind of very high. And you say, why they should be this high? They shouldn't be this high. But they push the price up because they are in agreement. And that also is an unfair practice. Okay, let me show you something. This one, very, very fast. Okay, very fast. Okay, I don't need to. Probably I don't need to. Okay, yes, I need to put it here. Where is the style? Here. Give me one moment, please. Almost finished. We are almost finished. Stop sharing. So now, share content, whiteboard. So, some of you have already studied this. Okay. Quantity, price. So if you Let me see if it works in this way, or otherwise I will, this is not the right way. This is not the right way. I want you to see it. Quantity and price. Don't write down anything because I will make a couple of mistakes. So, what about if you are selling something? For example, you are selling these recorders. And these recorders are today 10 bucks. Let's assume this is 10 bucks. Okay, you sell this quantity, quantity one, whatever the quantity is. But you decide to increase the price because you know you are not in the break-even point. So what about if you put it here? Let's assume that you increase the price at 12. So if you increase the price at 12, people will be eager to buy from you less. They will not buy more. They will decrease the quantity that they will buy from you. So this is quantity two. And you are losing these sales because of your decision. But what about if you decrease the price instead of increasing the price? And let's go for 8. What about if you have 8? Well, now probably people will instead of going up, you decide, no, I don't want this. Let's do this. Let's decrease the price. If you go to decrease the price, the quantity now will be quantity 3. You are increasing the quantity you are selling. You can join the dots. And this is called the demand function. It's very easy. Let me change a little bit the game, okay? How do you see this? Let's assume that now the demand is like this. If you have this price level, let's say price 1, whatever the price is. If you decrease the price, this is quantity 1, you decrease the price to price 2. Now you will be selling quantity 2. Wow. You see? It's elastic. That's a demand, an elastic demand. How can you tell it's an elastic demand? Just for you to memorize when you study economy. Elastic is an E, elastic. Inelastic is an I. Because what happens now, if the demand curve is like this, changes in price almost don't affect the quantity. This is smaller than this area. Inelastic. For example, drugs. The drugs, when you buy marijuana, if you, well, I don't care if you buy marijuana, but if you buy, the people who buys those stuff, they don't care about changes in prices. They continue and continue and continue. But what about if you have a very competitive marketing offering? For example, again, a pencil. Well, small changes in price switch your choice to a different marketing offering. Okay, just remember that in elastic, the demand curve is completely vertical. It's kind of vertical. Elastic, the demand curve is kind of horizontal. Okay, let me finish. I'm finishing now. So now you know this. And price elasticity is, what about if you change the price? That's price elasticity. Because price, if it's changed, something will happen to the quantity that is going to be sold. And that effect, that relationship is what price elasticity is about. Okay? Yeah. We already finished. You just have to consider economic conditions, reseller response to price, government, social concerns. The last thing to tell you is you change the price and your competitor is watching you. And so he will give a response. And how we study in the academy those responses, because your price is your value proposition. So to that value proposition, your competitor will respond. And that is called game theory. And that is very interesting. And there is an equilibrium. Remember this movie of The Beautiful Mind? Nash, John Nash? He found out that in a game, there is an equilibrium. And that is the Nash equilibrium, where everybody, all those who are placing prices, setting prices, there is a place where everybody is happy with whatever the other is doing. Okay. Any question? Sorry for taking all the hour again. Questions? No questions? Okay, we finish and see you Tuesday. Remember chapter 8. And in 2 weeks, we have the exam from chapter 6 to 11. Don't forget, okay? Thank you, guys. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Professor, I had one question for you for the exam. So the syllabus says that it's next Tuesday, so we're moving it to the week after. I just wanted to make sure, because the syllabus says it was next week.
Yes. We will push everything back. Yes.
Just want to make sure.
So many of you need a time to study. So yes, we will move it.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
See you, Chris. No questions, Owen? Okay.